Shirley's partially blind, but her brain gave Cheryl the power that she needed. She had the power within her to say, I have two children that depends on me. I cannot let this beat me down. I will survive. This is not who I am. Ladies and gentlemen, show minute.
Good day, everyone. Good to be here. Thank you, Unisa. Always good to hear your story. Good to be here. And for this wonderful speaker showcase that we have going on today. Everyone has challenges on some level, no matter what the age. And our youth, they have their own. And they, as we know, are always crying out. You know, there was this woman who went to work one day, and as she was looking around, she saw red on the walls, on the furniture, on the floor, everywhere. She looked up into the ceiling, and as her eyes hit the light, that's when she saw the blood cells moving in her eye. She knew in that moment that she was on her way, that her world would be forever changed. And it was in that moment, as her emotions started to swirl out of control, that she grabbed onto the nearest thing she could find to give her stability and strength to stay upright. With that, she went on to gather herself, hold on to her emotions as she was spiraling out of control, because it felt like that amusement ride where the floor drops out from under you and you're just spinning and have no control. That's what it felt like in that moment. And as she gathered her senses, she looked around and saw one of her coworkers across the room. She made her way over there, and like most coworkers do first thing in the morning, the woman looked up and was smiling and cheery-eyed. Good morning, how are you today? And as she looked at the woman approaching her, who held onto the desk and was leaning, the woman started to tell her what was going on. And she saw the coworker's face go from cheery-eyed and bubbly to very serious and then shock. It was in that moment that the confirmation was made of the seriousness of what was going on. As she began to shake and tears were rolling down her face, she knew her world was going to be forever changed. Now, after this, she moved on. And of course, she had to go through some surgical procedures. She had multiple surgical procedures, but the sight did not return. And it was that day when she went to work, it was that day that she became legally blind. Now, with that, this was the second time her world had come crashing to a halt. Because just a few years prior, she had made it out of a turbulent marriage. So now she was divorced with 2 young children. And now, look at here, sight loss. What a way to start your day, right? What a moment to have when you have not even had your morning cup of caffeine and to lose your sight. Can you imagine? You know, we think of ourselves and what we go through, no matter what age we are, but it's what others are going through too. And sometimes we don't take the time to think of others. As a mother, you think of your children and how you're going to raise them and how they're going to be, right? You think of your role in that whole process, because our youth, they are our future of tomorrow. As this woman progressed after her surgeries and had her diagnosis, she went through bouts of depression. although she continued to go day to day with her children. And with that, there came a moment where she had a full-on meltdown on her living room floor in a pool of tears. She was at that proverbial fork in the road when she had to decide, do I continue going the way I am? Was she going to continue with the depression, hiding, feeling like she was less than, like she had lost everything? Or was she going to take the other road, the path of the unknown, which she didn't know what to expect, but how much worse could it be? And she chose the path of the unknown. And with that, she had a moment of realization when she realized that in that moment, yes, she had different abilities that she was now living with, but she still had those capabilities that she had previously. She still had the knowledge, she still had the humor, she still had her loving sense of people. She had all of who she was. She just had an added quality, which was the different abilities. So with that, she decided to tap deep within and become that woman that she knew she was. And in life, we all have choices to make. But sometimes we forget of the power that we possess inside. Sometimes we forget who we are because of the labels people try to place upon us and the words that people say to us. And especially for our youth, it's hard when they're trying to find themselves and figure out who they are in this world. It can be quite difficult. And we need to support them and be available to them at all times. The power within you is your strength. The power within you is what allows you to move forward. And once this woman tapped into her inner power, she began to flourish and bloom and do things that had not been on her radar prior to that. She became an inspirational speaker, an author, created an online cooking show, became a radio host, and so much more. You never know what you can do until you tap into it. And that's for anyone from age 2 to 102. We have to love ourselves and know that we are strong within ourselves. No matter what the naysayers say, no matter what the circumstances look like around us, we have to keep pushing forward. We have to keep pushing forward. Ask me how I know. Because I am that woman. I am Cheryl Manette, your vision loss boss. I am now thriving. And I know with my different ability, if I can do it, so many others can too. And there are so many youth today with undiagnosed visual impairments. We really have to step up and stand next to our youth and advocate for them in all ways, not just some ways, but always, in every way, because they are depending on us. Yes, they can be tough at times, but they are depending on us. And it's for us to be there